Greetings, precious friends, brothers, sisters, devotees of the divine. In the world, I am known as Dr. Dennis L. Hunter. But in esoteric circles and among my most intimate friends, I'm often known as Adesh Wodan. This is to be a discussion of discovering your spiritual path. Discovering your spiritual path. I won't go into the nature of whether or not you're a believer. 80% of the planet supposedly believes in some kind of God or supreme being or afterlife. This is for those who feel inside themselves that they need to find some direction, some purpose, something they're supposed to do or be in order to fulfill an inner longing and knowing, a discovery of their spiritual nature and a fulfilling of that for which they have been born. There are many different spiritual paths, but I would like you to utilize or think about the idea of systems, methods, and techniques. Systems, methods, and techniques. For when you look for and discover and actually create or recognize a spiritual path, there are systems, methods, and techniques. As a metaphor, you might consider a person who is a building contractor, who creates homes, buildings. The system would be building contractor. The methods would be the various different things that people are expert at, whether it be excavation or plumbing or the electrical or framing, roofing, whether it be putting in the walls and painting, decorating. All those things would be considered methods. The specific techniques would be the things that they do to accomplish their particular applications to complete a unified whole. Keeping that in mind, I've often found that there tends to be a desire and interest in putting together paradigms of personalities, different types of personalities. They often fall into four particular quadrants. I have stumbled across half a dozen of these. And these are important because it might have something to do with the particular path that you might follow or discover, pursue in your quest for the manifestation, for the recognition, for the merging with your own divinity. The divinity of that spark which the divine creator has put into all of us. And although each kind of see those in a little different way, there is something modern, which many of you I'm sure have heard of, called the Myers-Briggs Personality Type Indicator. This too divides basically personalities into four specific areas. It further divides each of those areas 4 times again, and you come up with 16 personality types. It's very scientific. Many decades have been spent analyzing and testing and reviewing, and this is very respected in the professional psychology, sociology, helping professions as being valuable. So what does that have to do with finding your own particular path? In ancient terms, in Sanskrit terms, there have been those who have followed a path of the intellect for those who are primarily intellectual in nature. There's paths for those which are primarily feeling, who are primarily devoted. And there are paths for those who are action-oriented. They do things. And then there's those areas which I call the technical paths. A person who has a personality who is primarily intellectual might seek a path such as I have traveled, of jnana yoga, the path of wisdom, of knowledge, of one's self, of one's environment. Not necessarily to be a genius, but to be insightful, to be perceptive. And through that process, learn something of the nature of that which we call God and the divine and a relationship to it. The bhaktis, or devotees, they tend to do musical things. They tend to pray and meditate, very creative, create poetry. And they are interested in being very devoted, not caring so much of all the thoughts and the ideas and being in your head, but simply appreciating and merging with the divine. There are paths like that. Then there are the karma yogis, the action-oriented folks. They just want to do things, get things done. They want to accomplish things, always in motion, whether they be of service or whether they be supporters or what have you. And then, of course, we have, among the technologies, is the yogis, the pure classical yogis. Metaphorically, stereotypically, they really don't care what you think. They don't care what you do if you're just busy all the time. They don't care about your feelings so much. What they do is they do their yoga. By knowing the technology, by getting your body in alignment, by understanding the rules of the universe, by doing the exercises, by doing the breath, by doing the asanas, by doing the mudras and all this. So that is their path. So I see these four general paths as fitting into personalities. Personalities of people that are analytical, personalities of people that are busy, active doers, personalities that are supporters, personalities that are simply lovers, appreciators, who wish to bring great devotion. All of these have their purpose. All of these have their particular purposes. When I was active in psychotherapy, I would sometimes notice that people would be very intellectual, and perhaps you might think that an intellectual path would be best for you, to learn all there can be to learn, to be the great observer, observing yourself, observing others. And yet sometimes people are so much in their head and thinking so much that I would work with them on getting in touch with their feelings, being aware, being quiet, being creative, artful. And by the same token, some of those are emotional. This drama all over the place, never having a focus, never being able to put together a direction. I might perhaps think that they should be looking more to be intellectual. And of course, there's those that are sitting around thinking and feeling all the time, maybe they ought to just get out and do something. When I was working with people that were primarily depressed, that felt awful, that were thinking too much, the wrong things all the time, I used to have them get out, go for walks, and actually we would run, we would exercise, to do something. And of course, those involved in technology might agree with that. Now, there are many religions. Sometimes you're born into a path. It's just what things do. Religions are sort of like a system. Some of them focus primarily on scriptures. Some will focus on worship. Some will focus on service. And quickly you realize that regardless of the particular path you may wish to travel or discover, you have all of those inside you as a religion that does these different practices. So an individual will have all of these. These are all part of us. To be technical, to know how to do things, to be able to get things done, to be able to understand it, and to appreciate it. If you might think of a big hub with a plus in the middle, and each spoke of that hub, 4 spokes, can represent those 4 different ways of looking things. I think ultimately we're looking for the center. We're looking to bring all of those aspects together and become steeped in discernment and intuition to find the center, the true heart, the true experience and knowing of things. And yet most of us will tend to enjoy or be drawn towards one aspect or the other. Some will just want to pray, will just want to meditate, will want to chant, will want to recite, will want to worship and appreciate. And that'll be their strength, a supporter, perhaps a healer. Those kinds of folks, those kinds of ways of being are important to them all. And yes, they think, and yes, they do things, and yes, they know technology, but yet that'll be their focus. When stressed, when something happens, when not sure what to do or where to go, where will you fall? Will you fall to your knees and pray and sing and seek solace to comfort yourself? Or we go into your brain and say, okay, I've got to figure this out. There's got to be a solution. I'll figure this out. It'll work somehow. Or do you say, I just need to keep moving. I need to set a course and follow it and do something. These things are important considerations. The way one actually finds a path is most often it's because of these things that they are, these things that we are, that we gravitate to those areas where we are curious or whether we feel most comfortable. So sometimes one wanting to know the answers will go into technical yogic things that they'll learn how to do the yoga, and in doing that they will not be in their head, they will be doing things more. And in that process they may have experience and be so filled with divination, with the divine appreciation, So these are the ways that I look at following a path. Most likely you stumble over something. You're going along and you hear a teacher, or you read something, or you find something of interest. When that happens, move into it. That is your intuition calling. And if it's wrong, if it's not right for you, it's okay, because you'll be learning as you go through those things. Some of us are more scanners or We go from thing to thing, not because we're lost, but because we're curious about everything, and we take in the great, the all-encompassing, the all-inclusive paths. So we'll go many places, many religions, many teachers, until we finally can pull together and bring into ourselves the comfort, the ability, the experience to connect with our God, with our higher self, with that divine presence for which all on the path seek. And we all find to some degree. Step by step, we'll find we are closer and closer. You can have marvelous experiences that come and go, don't last, perhaps are signposts, and yet add to the overall presence and knowing, until you reach that glorious point, that place which, for you, you are complete and need no more. Yes, you'll continue to learn and continue to go here and go there. Many people, it's important that they find one single path and they stick to it. They become expert in that path. They become renowned. They become filled with titles by doing the same things, the same methodologies over and over for a lifetime. You can truly become masterful of those understandings and those techniques. And yet there are those who wander, those who do the great path, the all-inclusive path. So I don't know how helpful this has been, but your personality is paramount in understanding what you're going to be attracted to. And this is all intellectual, this is all metaphorical ideas. The technician let's just get on with it and learn something. The doer says, okay, I'm tired of sitting here and thinking, let's make something happen. Let's take care of people. Let's learn and grow. Let's create. The one full of devotion says, I know God is here right now. And the more I commune, the more I worship, the more I celebrate, the more I appreciate, the closer I am. So these are the thoughts I have on finding your path. But always move, do something, learn, experience, feel, and create something, accomplish something. Something that is your gift you're offering to yourself and to the universe. So, these are my comments on discovering your spiritual path. I hope you found them useful. If so, please subscribe and I will do more of these. Please comment so I'll know what your thoughts are, if this is helpful, if there's questions, if there's things that have been missed. I remain here, for I am Adesh, and I am here. Blessings to you all. In the name of the most magnificent, one all-encompassing God. Om Mahadharma Adnipoche. Peace and blessings to all my brothers and sisters on the path with me. Till next time.
Thank you.